Nothing I am saying in this video is fact. This is a thought exercise and a hypothesis that I am going to put out there, and I am very excited to hear what you guys think about it, but none of it is a statement of fact by any stretch of the imagination. So over the last couple of weeks, I've been alluding to the fact that I was going to put something big out about Charlie Kirk. That is this right here. And now we are going to get into exactly what my new hypothesis is, which is that Charlie still alive. Now, the amount of evidence that we are going to be looking at today is going to be overwhelming. So we're probably going to be splitting this into 2 episodes. We got a lot of stuff to look at. But first, let me explain some things. So if this hypothesis is correct, then guess what? Everything that you saw on September 10th would be a publicity stunt, a large-scale one, a psyop, but it would also make Charlie into a manufactured martyr with the intent of sealing control of the government for the next 12 years. I think that Charlie and them believed that if they pulled this off and convinced the world that he was murdered by radical leftists, that they not only were going to be able to absolutely solidify this rock solid support that they had in the 2024 election, but they were going to get all the rest of the independents over there. Now, I wonder where they could have gotten the idea that something like this could be a watershed moment that led to tremendous benefit in elections and overall popularity in the country. They would have the ability to designate Antifa as terrorists. They'd be able to get into their funding. They'd be able to root out all of the people who have been trying to destroy the country from the inside out. And I also think that Charlie has been talking about this since 2018 because I know he has, because Candace told us and showed us the text. He thought he was going to die young, and he said that he believed that Candace was going to be the Iron Lady who was going to take it on going forward, and she was going to lead the final revolution that saved the country. Now, this has been confirmed that he really believed this. He talked to counselors about it. He talked to his priest, talked to his therapist, whatever. This is all real. Now imagine that you're him and you think that you have to die in order for this outcome to happen. Guess what? A much better option to you might sound like, well, what if I just make it seem like I died and the same future will happen, which could explain one of the reasons that this went wrong. But we're not going to talk about that. We're going to talk about practical reasons that this went wrong in this hypothetical situation that I am definitely not saying is accurate. Now, speaking of practical reasons that he might want to do this, he also just spent the last year believing that he was going to go to prison.
Joe Biden sent the entire federal government after Turning Point USA and me personally. They wanted me in federal prison.
There's another reason that you would absolutely want to take yourself off the board. But the reason that everybody would have helped him do it, because there's a lot of people who would be involved in this, is because they believed that if this is executed correctly and the world believes that he's murdered by leftists, then there is no question who is going to win 2026 midterms, 2028, 2032. And if we have that much time, they believe, to remake the world, then they've won. This would have been the knockout blow in the battle for the future against the demons. In order to be able to get behind this theory, even with the absolutely astronomical amount of evidence that we're going to look at, you still have to believe that this reason is big enough for J.D. Vance, Kash Patel, the Farnsworth family, obviously Erica, of course his inner circle at TPUSA, including his Mormon friends who are so well connected in Utah that they might even know people who could get the grounds ripped up the day after at UVU, just to make sure that no one ends up testing the ground and finding out there's no real blood there.
This is the courtyard where it all happened. It's now open to the public again. There's lots of people coming here, placing flowers, cards, things like that. The university is already making some changes. They're replacing the grass where Charlie Kirk was speaking with pavers.
Now, in order to be able to understand this story, you have to be able to see the world through the eyes of the people who are in this story. Every single one of them that's involved believed that if they pull this off, they are going to save the world. If they would have pulled this off, they would have been right. But they made big mistakes, huge mistakes. And the irony is that the biggest one out of all of them was they underestimated the collective intelligence of the population that is going to be looking at this. And they never asked themselves, what if Erica can't pull it off? What if she's not a good enough actress? What if she can't get people to believe that she is a grieving widow? And since you can't involve Candace, because Candace has beef with a lot of people who are going to have to be involved in this thing, okay, what's she going to do if she smells a rat? What is going to happen if Candace, A, believes that you were murdered, and B, smells a rat with the people around you? What kind of destructive force could she be if you sick that dragon on that situation? And as crazy as you think I am, I promise you by the end of this, you are going to start questioning yourself, and you're going to start questioning whether this is possible, because everything that has been weird so far gets answered by this answer. All right, so we're going to start right here with a little reminder of the Snake Eyes connection.
There was a movie in 1998 called Snake Eyes with Nicolas Cage. I'm pretty sure some of you guys have seen this. In the movie, They're at a boxing match. A politician is assassinated in the movie, and his name is Charles Kirkland. Okay, think about Charlie Kirk. This is very, very weird. Okay, he was shot on the left side of his neck. The film takes place on September 10th. Rob, that's the
date of the fight.
This is what we were talking about yesterday. This is what we were talking about yesterday. Rob, that's the poster. And then the boxer who's in on the plan, who's doing a diversion, he wakes up on the ring. His name is Tyler, like Tyler Robinson, and he's called the Executioner. Okay, Jesus. Weird. And then the tropical storm that hits in the film is called Hurricane Jezebel. And for some of you guys that saw Megan Kelly just did a piece. That's the name of the online magazine that allegedly hired witches in August to put a hex on Charlie. And the film, parts of the film were filmed at the Trump Taj Mahal and Hotel Casino. And the secret camera which films the assassination, but the videographer doesn't let anyone know. And guess what the tagline is of the movie? Believe everything except your eyes.
Yeah.
There was a movie.
So you keep that last part in mind. Keep that last part in mind. Because at the end of the day, let me ask you guys a common sense question about that right out of the gate. Either this is some kind of foreshadowing from a higher power than I'm capable of understanding, or this is a very large publicity stunt that was orchestrated very cleverly by the conspirators to mirror this movie. And maybe it's both. Maybe it's foretold, and maybe also you have a bunch of conspirators who did this on purpose, regardless of what that means in terms of what's the conclusion. Does that mean Charlie's alive? Does that mean he's dead? Either way. But you can't have it. And then, by the way, this did not cover all of the different stuff either. There's a lot more. We can look at that later because there's a much more detailed video. But just remember all of that stuff around Snake Eyes because it's going to become much more important later. Now, so much of unraveling this thing is centered around Erica Kirk. And the reason that you are looking at this particular video right here is because this is taken between Charlie and her well before he gets assassinated. And the reason that we're looking at this is to understand what their relationship was like. And I realize if you've only looked at Erica through the lens that you've seen her since September 10th and you have zero trust for her and you think that she's a psychopath, it's going to be hard to interpret this. But I'm going to ask you to put all of that aside and pretend you don't know anything about her at all, because that is exactly what this case would have been if you saw this prior to everything that's happened, and just watch them interact with each other and tell me how it makes you feel. Does she make you feel as awkward and weird in this video as she does now? Or does it feel totally different? Okay, watch this.
You'll be switching? All right, I'll count it down.
Wait. I'm kind of nervous, you guys.
She's nervous, which is why we must get going. All right, we ready?
No.
Okay, 3, 2, 1. Hey, everybody. Welcome to this episode of The Charlie Kirk Show.
You're going to have to do it again.
Introduce yourself.
Is that what you're going to say?
Hey, everybody. Welcome to this episode of The Charlie Kirk Show.
You're so handsome.
I'm engaged. Would you like to introduce yourself, or should I introduce you?
This is mortifying.
How would you like me to start? All right, we'll try it again. Hey, everybody. Welcome to this episode of The Charlie Kirk Show. Joining me is the most special guest, my fiancée, Erica. Welcome to The Charlie Kirk Show.
Now, of all of the preface videos that I'm going to show you, this is the one that is most impactful for me, okay? Watch this video and then tell me that you still believe that it is likely that this woman murdered Charlie Kirk and then completely absent grief has behaved the way that she has behaved since this happened, okay? Watch this.
Leave everyone today.
Grammar matters more than people realize.
Words of wisdom for today.
Learn how to say words backwards.
I don't know if they were the...
Words of wisdom for today.
Power shows the man. You want to find out a lot about somebody, give him a bunch of power. Power shows the man. We will be diving deep into Aristotle. We were just at Hillsdale, good school, great school. The only college, the last college.
Your words of wisdom for today.
Wise man loves to be corrected. Anyone that wants to replace error with truth is wise.
What are your words of wisdom for today?
To know the road ahead, ask those coming back.
And where are we?
We're in an elevator.
I like your hat.
Baby, what are your words of wisdom for today?
Lost time is never found again.
This is the best, dude. Hey, hey guys, she's a psychopath though. I'm just saying, like, you need to start watching this and start to question the assumptions that you've made, because I promise I'm really good at this. Anyone in my life will tell you that if I go, listen, look at that person, if you leave them alone with whatever, they're going to steal your oranges. I am never wrong about people when I get a good solid read on them. And the reason I couldn't watch her before is because she was not being herself, and it was so obvious to me that she made my blood curdle. And here, I don't get the heebie-jeebies. I can just watch her hang out with Charlie. We'll probably figure out soon why that is. Now, as a reminder, we move over to this one, and this is where you get to see the relationship that Charlie had with the other guys at TPUSA, all of his best friends, his closest comrades, the guys that he has built this thing with from the beginning. And now watch that again really quick.
Sure they did, but
we're seeing Fox Call It Live.
everyone's
Charlie,
saying it.
let me give you credit from right here in Pennsylvania. You were the guy, you and Tyler convinced me. You say, Cliff, stop door knocking across the country, go back to your home state, own Pennsylvania. That will be the deciding factor. I thought you guys were nuts. We knocked 500,000 doors. We delivered Pennsylvania, and now we've got our country back. Let's do this, baby. Come on.
Let's go.
There it is.
Clean up, clean up,
All
clean
right.
up.
The
Let's
run
go.
on.
Huge win. Seems a little surreal.
We did not earn this. This is God's mercy on our country.
Now, again, what we're going to be looking at in this video is going to be all the indiscrepancies and all the lies that TPUSA has told since this incident happened. And then all the inconsistencies leading up to the incident on September 10th, right? And so what we're trying to establish here is, like, what is their relationship with this guy? Is he a boss that they had lots of resentment for? Is it someone that they genuinely loved? What do you see in those videos? And especially, what do you see from Erica? Do you think Charlie's a bad judge of character? Does it look like he cared about her? Does it look like she cared about him? Because I can tell you right now, in that exact situation, if it were me in Charlie's shoes and Gabrielle was there, that's exactly what she would do. And if you're not familiar with my relationship with my wife, 100 people could show me a video of Gabrielle betraying me from 18 different angles, and I wouldn't believe it. I'd be like, it's impossible. That's how much I trust her. And that's exactly what she would have done. So put that in your brain bank as we move on. Now, real quick, 30-second clip, also very important later on. And this is just about why Charlie cried the night of the election.
Do you know why I cried on election night?
Because you thought it was a restoration of the Judeo-Christian values that are inherent to the country, the Constitution.
Let me tell you why, because I think you might appreciate this as a historian. Joe Biden sent the entire federal government after Turning Point USA and me personally. They wanted me in federal prison.
Right.
And by the way, that's what despots do, not
Sure.
Donald Trump. Let me finish. And so when Donald Trump won, it was a sigh of relief that maybe I won't have to go to federal prison.
Sure.
Maybe I can actually be around my kids. And maybe we can live in a free society.
Very important. So now we've set the stage, okay? So that is what happened going into the event in September in terms of showing what the relationships appeared to be. You've got Erica and Charlie. You've got Charlie's crew and Charlie, and you understand now why Charlie was crying on election night, although I'm sure that there was a lot more to it in terms of what they were able to accomplish. But what he has shared is that he was terrified that he was going to go to prison for a very long time. And given some of the stuff that I've seen around, floating around when you got into their finances, now I've been very open about the fact that I am not ethically challenged by any of the things I've seen, but you know, and I don't know what the law is. So, you know, when I say like, oh, this is exactly what I would do, I could basically be saying like I would commit gigantic political campaign fraud, but I don't know because I don't know the law. Obviously, I would learn the law before I was in that environment, but looking at some of the things and then hearing what people have said, it's possible that Charlie was facing prison and had like earned it as it relates to, you know, against what the federal regulations are. Now, speaking of federal regulations that you are violating right this second, if you're not subscribed to my channel, then that means you are a criminal or something like that. I'm just kidding. But if you guys want to get alerted when I drop part 2 and part 3, you definitely should hit subscribe. And if you want to get a notification, then you should definitely click the bell and hit all notifications. Also, I worked my ass off on this video, and so if you guys don't mind liking the video, I would appreciate it immensely. Okay, so that's our backdrop. Now, we're now going to fast forward quite a bit. Now we're fast forwarding to right after the event happens where Charlie's assassinated in public, and all of us have a moment of, it's going to be September 13th here, okay? And just because I want to share why we interpreted this next part the way we did, which is Erica's first speech, okay? I cried the night that Charlie got shot. And as a matter of fact, you can see the first time that I saw the video of him being shot. I have that, and I'll show it to you in a second, okay? Like, I was very emotionally impacted by that, very much. I mean, I was certain when I saw the video, I saw the very graphic one, and I was positive that I had just seen Charlie Kirk get killed. Like, I had no hope that he was going to make it through that. You could see that in my reaction. And that night, before we went to bed, my wife and I literally hugged each other and like bawled, dude. Okay, like, it was a really big deal, right? Obviously, and still is. That's why everybody's still, I mean, I'm sure for some people it's just like something fun to do, but I never lost sight of it. I was like, I always believed that it was the leftists, and I was like, I'm not going to let people get distracted, because if I'm right and those kids did it, I want all of them. I want every single one of them. Not one kid, no one who posted on the internet saying, yay, something big's going to happen. Something big's going to happen. Charlie Kirk is going to be dead at 31, all that. I'm like, every single person who knew anything about it, anyone who went there, we need to ring them all up. Ring them up, dude. Prison for every single one of them. Anyone who was involved, prison for life or executed. Anyone who knew and didn't report it, minimum of 15 years. Set precedent and bury him. That's where I was at emotionally when that happened. Now, just to remind everybody what this looked like when I saw it. Okay, this is the emotional impact that it had on me personally.
Mass destruction. I guess everybody just freaking out, trying to take care of their own, and we're all trying to help everyone else. We all just, everybody hunkered together, and we got all that. So.
And I'm sorry, Taylor. Was it an outdoor event?
Yes, it was.
It was an.
Oh my God! Oh my God, dude. Oh my God. Seen the video. He's not going to make it, dude. Oh my God. Jesus, man. People are saying, how do I know? I just watched a video of it 5 times. Imagine how deluded and idiotic you have to be to think that murdering Charlie Kirk is going to be a good thing for whatever thing that you think that you're fighting for, you stupid, ignorant mother. So obviously we just jumped past the entire incident to see that clip, but we're going to hang out here just for a second, okay? Because why it was important to establish how I felt is because I'm sure all of you guys felt the exact same way. And I know this is obviously remedial for most grown-ups, but what is the most important moment of your long-term relationship with someone that you just meet? First impression, right? First impressions are very important. And so it's important to understand what everybody's emotional and mindset was when we watched this. This was the very first time I had ever seen Erica Kirk speak, very first time I'd seen her do anything, and I'm sure that that was the same for all of you. Now, all of us were in an incredibly vulnerable state in terms of like, there's nothing she could have done where people were not going to support her. But if you're like me, I got through exactly 30 seconds of this. 30 seconds before I was like, oh my God, my blood is running cold. I need to get out of here. Let's watch some of this.
Jesus. Feel this room. Good evening. My name is Erica Kirk. Charlie Kirk is my husband. I first want to thank the local, state, and federal law enforcement who worked tirelessly.
Yep, that's how much I can get through. I'm serious. That is literally how much I can get through of that. And I am now actually going to fast forward just a little bit because I don't think we got like the full effect. Like, let's check out whatever everybody was interested in right here, right? Like, let's just see a little bit more.
Helped him broadcast from this studio, this chair. Every day he loved it. He loved what he did.
Oh my God.
I want to thank the millions of people.
It's unwatchable. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I am different than you guys, but unwatchable. And yet when I watch her before, I don't have this problem at all. There's nothing about her that is unwatchable. She just seems like a little daisy flower, you know. In all the other videos that I watch of her, she seems totally normal, okay? Here, she seems like a psycho, okay? And we'll also take a look at this really quick, right? And then there was this little number, right? This is normal, I guess, not at all, you know?
Oh, I love you. I love you. I love you. I know. I love you. I love you. I love you. God bless you.
Do you guys remember the Attitude Era in WWE? Remember the Attitude Era? Okay. This reminds me exactly of the Attitude Era. Okay. Now, and the thing is, as I've stated, when you don't know what you're looking at, you can't put your finger on what's wrong, but you know something's wrong. Okay. And so if you take for granted that Charlie is in fact dead and has just gotten murdered, then if that's an established fact, as certain as you are of any other thing, then the only place that you can look is to Erica. And you're like, what's wrong with her? Like, what is wrong with her? Okay. And then you're going to start looking at her very suspiciously. Right. But let's say that you knew something different. Like maybe you're like, well, maybe Charlie's not dead. And this is just very poor acting. Like this is like embarrassingly bad acting. I'm feeling so cringe because I would be feeling that way even if I knew that he was not dead. But thinking that he had just gotten shot and I cried with my wife and then now I'm watching this, it's like makes my hair stand on end. And so now everything that you're going to interpret as it has to do with her is she's going to look like an evil lunatic because she's not acting correctly. Okay. Acting is not easy. And we are going to demonstrate how hard it is to act here in a second. Okay. Now check this out. Obviously, for the record, everything that we're doing here is I am laying out a theory. If at the beginning of this, I have said Charlie is alive and fake this. So I'm not standing by any of this absolutely dead to rights. I'm saying that since we're doing it this way, this is how we're looking at it. Now Charlie's alive. And now how does it look? Looks like she's acting, right? And then you have this thing, right? Just one more little thing before we move over to the actual day of. What? She's named the CEO of Turning Point. Does that make sense to anybody? Yeah, makes perfect sense. If Charlie's alive, right? This is the whole point. If every question gets answered by the same thing and then suddenly it makes sense, then you got to really start thinking maybe that is exactly what's going on. So why is she being so weird? Well, maybe Charlie's not dead, right? And then over here, why does Erica end up becoming the CEO of Turning Point? Why would that make sense? She wasn't even like, was she even involved? And now she's the CEO instead of Tyler Boyer or any of these guys? Makes no sense. Oh, wait, does it make sense if if Charlie is actually alive and underground? Now it makes perfect sense, right? It's like, why is she showing a video of her like this? Like, this is such a personal moment. Why are we looking at this? Well, it makes perfect sense if you're trying to convince the world that he's dead when he's actually not, right? So now we're going to get to the actual details of the day of, okay? And this is where, now that we have at least established that there's a lot of people acting very bizarre, watch this, okay? So now watch the signals again, because now we are assuming that my conclusion is correct, and you're going to look at it through those lenses, okay? So right here, watch this.
Where Charlie Kirk is supposedly shot just prior, and let's play the clip and take a look at the individuals at play on this world stage event.
Also, this guy or everybody else thinks that Charlie does the first sign. I actually think that the dude who is just out of frame over to the left, he does the first sign. I think he starts, then Charlie, then White Hat, and then the security guard behind him, because the security guard behind him is one of the ones that's actually a huge giveaway, because right before the shot, he takes a step forward. Okay, he takes a step forward, grabs his arm, and he's the one who catches Charlie when he falls. Anyway, let's watch. That guy right there in the red hat. Now it's going to touch the nose. Boop. And then
there's a signal, touching of the nose, and then Frank Turek in the back, he touches the bill of his cap to signal.
Right there. See? That guy, he takes a step forward, touches his arm. That's him saying, ready. Okay? This is ready, ready, ready. That's the sign. That's the sign that you're doing. And whoever is going to initiate the thing going off underneath his shirt, and whoever's running this whole thing, and we're going to get into the makeup later, by the way, and the special effects, if that's what's going on. But that's an all ready. Everybody ready? And then, for sure, what happens is someone goes ready, and then it's 3, 2, 1, bang. I bet that's what it's going to be. Once you have ready, 3, 2, 1, go. Okay? So let's take a look at some of the other stuff that happened that day and see if this also falls in. Why are they doing all these signs? Like, why are they doing these signs? Well, answer, maybe they're not doing signs. It's like, all right. But let's say that they were. It's like, well, it makes sense if they're all trying to align right beforehand, right? Watch this, okay?
It's a selfie video. Takes a video of himself. So let's watch that video.
They just shot Charlie. They just shot Charlie. They just shot.
Okay. Farnsworth, right? We've talked about this. Oh my God, they shot Charlie. They shot Charlie. He runs and gets on the wall. What are you doing on the wall? You guys remember? I remember this the first day people saw these cell phone videos, and you could see there's a dude up there that's just like, hello, I am dead calm. Totally calm. Nothing's happening. I'm just going to get a good shot right here. And he ends up getting the shot right here where Charlie gets carried by the security guards, which I can't show.
They just shot Charlie. He's dead. God help him.
How would you possibly know he's dead? How would you feel comfortable saying a thing like that? He's dead. God help him. That acting job was not good. And I will just say that prior to this even being my hypothesis, I told everybody that I thought it was the leftist. I fell for, if this ends up being what it was, I fell for it. It's like, listen, guys, like they're violent, they're whatever. There's all this stuff on the internet. What would there be to indicate that it wasn't them? But that acting, not good. Not good. Almost certainly part of the thing. Bottom line, when something this big happens, you are going to behave in a certain way, and people are not going to be going, wow, that guy looks fake, if there's not something fishy. And they're either crazy or they act like a person who's terrified and just saw their friend get shot. Like, you will not find any videos online of a person who is filming their friend getting shot and them acting weird like that. That's not a thing that happens. This is like WWE, just like Erica draping herself over the thing. Oh my God, my hand's on him. It's actually real. Okay, so if just Erica's a psycho, then that's one thing. But now you got another person at TPUSA acting completely ridiculous. Like, that's just weird. That is not how you would act. Okay, so Farnsworth, another inner circle guy, acting all wrong. Okay, acting all wrong. Okay, we get enough of them, then there's only one other option. That's the TPUSA whacked out Charlie. Oh, and don't forget that he also immediately after that happened was like, what am I going to do next? Should I call someone? He's all, nope, I'm going to go take the SD cards out of the camera. Just going to make sure that I get those locked up and good to go. The press might need those, or maybe the FBI. That's one of those things that I never looked at very seriously, because I was like, what do you think? What? Like, what? I don't get, he took this SD cards out. Like, that's fine, because I never suspected TPUSA, because I thought it was impossible that they would hurt Charlie. I still believe it's impossible that they would hurt Charlie. I do. I'm not going to lie, dude. I don't believe that they would hurt Charlie. I don't. So as soon as I start putting all these pieces together that they are conspirators, there's only one thing that can be the conclusion. Okay? Now let's continue.
He puts his phone to his ear and he begins a conversation. So we're going to watch that clip in its entirety. Mark is going to bring it in. So we decided to slow this clip down, and we're going to watch this clip slow down so you can see that it is exactly 834 milliseconds from the time that you hear the shot. That is how long it takes for Mikey McCoy to put the phone to his ear. Now, why is that precise timing so important? Because there's no dialing. Mikey didn't have time to dial, okay? You can't dial and put your phone to an ear in 0.834 seconds. The next time that you're going to see Mikey McCoy, as we just showed you, is in just under 2.5 seconds on the other side of the tent. He's on a phone call. So we can track Mikey, but let's watch the clip again in milliseconds so you really grasp how quickly this transpires.
So Mikey McCoy, dead calm. Hello. Yes, it's about to happen right now. There it is. I'm going to go get the car. And you want to know why I think he was walking off so slowly? Is because there was a report from a guy who was in the parking lot at the hospital that they went to. And they said that there was the first car pulled in. And then he said another person came in driving another SUV that he believed was Mikey McCoy, came around and he saw someone get in the truck, and then boom, zip around and get out of there. So my hypothesis is that Mikey McCoy drove the car over to the hospital. Charlie is the one who got into that car, and zippity-doo-dah, he's out of there. And that might even explain why Erica was putting her hands on some weird mannequin thing that didn't appear to be a real person, but who knows? That now I'm just speculating, okay? But what do we got? We got Erica acting all wrong afterwards, and I mean all the time. You got Mikey McCoy, his number 2 guy, on the phone instantly, who clearly he was talking on the phone already, getting ready. Yeah, it's about to go right now. You got Farnsworth acting like some B-grade actor, super weird. Now that should be it, right? Like, there's no way that there's more, right? Aside from obviously Erica becoming the CEO for absolutely no reason. What do we got next? Hunter Kozak. Wait a minute. Did Hunter Kozak have something to do with this? Did he refuse to take a lie detector test when I offered him all this money? Hey, Hunter, I feel like maybe I had it right, but I had it wrong. I have your phone number, dude. We could talk this thing out, because the reason I backed off him is when I talked to him, like, I can't, dude. I don't think this guy's a murderer, but he's on the Un-F America tour. I don't really want to talk too much more about, that whole situation, TPUSA, and you know what I mean? I'm just going to leave it alone. But Hunter also somehow ended up being on the TV show with Erica.
Likewise, horrified by the people in my so-called camp who were cheering about Charlie's murder.
What was that about, dude? Like, what are the odds of that? How does this guy ask that question and then he's on the show? Almost like maybe they know each other. I don't know. But let's just watch this again as he prepares for his role in this thing. Another reason why I let it slide when I finally talked to him is he's like, you think I would agree to let someone shoot a gun over my head to hit Charlie? And I thought about that. I'm like, nah, he's right, dude. He wouldn't do that, would he? He wouldn't do that, would he? Every instinct I have is screaming at me that he's in on this thing, because I watched his interviews too. And I'm like, nope. And I have always trusted my instinct. No one's better at this than me. No one is better at look at person and go, That's all wrong right there. And I always felt that way with him. He's still a human being. I was like, why is he being so phony, dude? I'm not buying it. So maybe he's in on it too. Yeah. Doesn't look very natural, does it, when you're looking at it through these lenses? You know? But it was a good one to sell me that it was the leftists who did it. Real good one. That was a really good one. Because even to a person like me who is looking for a rat all the time, you know, I see that, I'm like, oof. He asked that question. And what a genius, absolutely genius strategy. If this is what happened, right? He asked the question, what about trans violence? Last thing in your head. The last thing in your head right before bang, this thing embeds itself in your brain forever. Last thing. And then boom. Genius. If this is what happened. Again, I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't know. What else we got? Oh, Phil Lyman. We'll come back to him, actually. Why don't we take a look at these guys? You guys remember this? You remember his security? Okay, so does it make sense that they are smiling and looking totally normal? Look at that face right there. Look at this face right there. Does that look like a person who is frantically trying to revive someone? Nope, does not. Let's just take a look at this and you guys tell me how it makes you feel. Does this feel like what people would be doing after Charlie got shot like that? Keep in mind that none of them have any blood on them, on their hands. Their hands are like totally dry. No problems. That's supposedly a guy who just got shot in the neck in an artery shot. What's going on with their faces? What are they doing? And then here are these guys. They're all here. Take this. Everybody take this. There's no blood anywhere. For some reason, no blood. Absolutely no blood. There's no blood anywhere. I don't know what this, I mean, just no blood. But it's a miracle. But here, definitely take this. This is not some kind of charge that, made it look like he got shot. Still no blood. No blood on anyone. Absolutely none. None whatsoever. At a certain point, you start to ask yourself, how come all of these things are also weird? So everybody obviously is like, well, it's because, of course, those guys killed him. And honestly, I thought that was possible. That was the only time where I was like, man, that looks bad. But again, we come back to, if the same solution answers every question, you got to start taking it really seriously, because these are TPUSA people. Charlie Kirk Inner Circle, that's his security. So if he was juking this thing, if Charlie was juking this thing, then that's exactly what they would look like. Farnsworth being weird, if they're juking it, same. Hunter Kozak, okay? If he's in on it, that makes sense. Erica Kirk, if she's on it, that makes sense. If she's CEO, that makes sense, okay? And we're going to get to Candace, because Erica and Candace are the two linchpins for why this blew up in their face. If I'm right about this, which I'm not saying for sure that I am, but if I am right, and this, because this has gone sideways. This has fractured the party. Fracturing the party was not their intention. And they made two astronomical mistakes that have led to that outcome. One has to do with Erica, and the other one has to do with Candace. And for the record, Candace is not inside of this, at least as far as I can tell. It actually, I mean, I would say if the theory's right, there's no way she's in on this. And that's the problem. Because I'll give you guys a spoiler. Remember when Candace said that Andrew Colvett called her and said, it was supposed to be you, Candace? Remember that? And everybody read that like, what the hell is he talking about? It's supposed to be you. What do you mean it's supposed to be you? And everybody assumes that he's saying like, it was supposed to be you that got killed, right? But what did Charlie say in the text messages to Candace about, he's like, hey, I'm going to get killed. I'm going to get killed when I'm young, or I'm going to die when I'm young. 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 And you're going to be my iron lady who's going to take the revolution over the line. So Charlie, Andrew Colvett says it was supposed to be you. What do you think he's talking about? It was supposed to be her that took over. And can you imagine if it would have been Candace in the role that Erica's playing right now? Can you imagine what the outcome of all of this would have been if it was Candace who was on the stage, who was the new TPUSA CEO, and she was the one taking on all comers? To compare Erica Kirk's ability to navigate a wartime situation like this to Candace is like comparing my ability to win in a grappling match to an unborn baby, okay? Like, it's like, this is the best of all time, certainly the best of this generation, and a black girl too, dude. But even take gender, take color, take anything out of it, the best against way over her head. Way can't pull off grieving widow even, you know, much less a fight. Okay, so now check this out. Remember this whole thing?
Radius of where Charlie was. They lock that down. They say, EMS, get over here right away. Get over here and do whatever you got to do. Keep the blood in this guy's body, please. So this is before the shot. Right, so they're just showing everything that's going on. And this is him and his boy. See, he's taking off that trauma bag because he wants to offer it up. Let me make sure you guys see it. He's offering up that trauma bag. So the one guy named Connor, he keeps his. But this guy says, hey, go ahead and take it. Like, you can just have this. This would just make sense for you to have because you have somebody in there who clearly needs it. Right? They're ready to work. That's why they're walking up. They're ready to go. They're like, let us in the car. Why aren't we in the car? We have everything that you would need. The security guards have absolutely nothing except for whatever they were passing around.
If the exact same answer solves all of the problems, then you have to very seriously start considering that answer. Because like we've been talking about all the way along, if Charlie faked this thing and everybody was in on it, then it explains all of it so far. And while people will immediately get done watching this, because we're about to be done with part 1, right after I tell you why I'm doing this, when you get to part 2 and we get into the even deeper stuff, okay, there's a lot more. But people will walk away from it and they'll talk themselves out of it. I don't think Candace is going to be one of them, though. I have a feeling, I mean, listen, I don't want to step on where I'm going with this, but for all of you guys, don't try to think of a reason that is unconnected to any of the things that we've talked about in the video, okay? This is obviously just a hypothesis. I'm not saying that I'm right. This is all just me emptying my brain and doing a thought experiment. But the bottom line is this. If you think of a bunch of reasons that this couldn't be, but do not address the things that we've talked about in this video, then it's pointless. It makes no difference. Like, you have to be able to explain these things. How do you explain them? Because at this point, if you're looking around, well, what about it? We haven't even talked about Cash. We haven't talked about the official story. We haven't talked about Lance Twiggs. We haven't talked about the text messages. We haven't talked about the pictures. We haven't talked about the first aid that was not allowed to be administered to Charlie. We haven't talked about the lack of a blood trail on the way to the truck. We haven't talked about all of the stuff that is going to follow right afterwards that is so blaringly obvious once you look at it again. When you're looking at it again from this new perspective, it all just goes, oh my God. And again, the reason that I'm doing this is because this is a failed experiment. Whatever they thought they were doing, it has had the exact opposite effect. Okay. Everybody suspects TPUSA is involved in this thing. At least all the people that would watch this video, they all think TPUSA did it. They all think Erica is in on it. And I understand exactly why. It's because Candace believes that they're in on it. And why does Candace think that they're in on it? Common sense, because they're lying. Now, I realize Candace is not everybody's cup of tea, but the bottom line is she is definitely my cup of tea, and she's such a savage. She's a savage, man. She is an investigator you do not want coming after you. Like, she's smarter than you. She's smarter than you. And she is unafraid to tell you that she can astral project with Charlie because she doesn't care, dude. She's like, no, yeah, we really did do that. And bottom line is, I know you're lying. I'm all in on this. I know you're lying. Here's the thing that I would pose to you, Candace, is ask yourself the following question. Any of the funding stuff, any of this new financing stuff that you are talking about in today's episode, actually, with Pierre, would any of it make it impossible that Charlie is the one who made all of the decisions that you are looking at and attributing to these people as potential motive for his murder? Could it be that Charlie has gone underground He can no longer go to jail. He can no longer go to prison because he is not alive as far as the official record is concerned, because he's friends with the president of the United States and the vice president. He convinced them that if he dies via murder by a leftist, that it's going to be incredibly beneficial to them because he's an incredible salesperson. And he made a big conference, a big 5-day conference with the inner circle. They talked about it. They rehearsed it. And here's another thing, Candace. Charlie said that he was in Tokyo in Japan for what, the 6th, 7th, 8th, whatever it was, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, whatever. And you're having trouble sourcing where Erica was. And believe me, we've got a lot more to talk about, but just, I'll leave you with this. If I'm right about this, then where would Charlie, Erica, and every other person that was going to be involved in this thing on the 10th have been on the 7th, 8th, 9th, whatever, right? Farnsworth, Mikey McCoy, anyone who was going to play a role in this thing was going to be at a last-minute training where they were going to get synced together. They were going to run through it 1,000 times to make sure that every single person knew exactly what their role was and no one made any mistakes. So instead of looking to see where Erica was, we should start looking where the other people were. And if you find that they're all in the same place, you know what I mean? And if you find that they're not, I mean, again, I could just be completely wrong here, dude. And then now speaking to Charlie and them, well, if I'm wrong, I guess now it's talking to Charlie, speaking to TPUSA, the reason why I thought this is because you guys have no emotions that match that of a human being. So if this is not right, then my next hypothesis is you're from another planet. Okay. I'm never wrong about reading people's emotions, not ever. And this is one that I've never seen, but I've never seen anyone try to fake the death of their, their beloved before. Now, also, one other thing for everybody to think about. Everybody has put a lot of weight on the Doge style, the Doge effort, right? Okay. Well, so let me pose this to you now that we have this new data point, which was that Charlie was part of Operation Arctic whatever and was facing prison. Okay. So Charlie writes that email. We're going to do a Doge style effort to see where all the money's going. And everybody's assumed that that could have been a trigger that would have been motive for someone inside of TPUSA to put him down. Okay. Well, let me pose a different solution that would fall squarely into what I'm proposing. Okay. Given what I have seen from the people who are looking into their books, Wolves in Finance, Danks, and those guys, right? Project Constitution, all these guys that have been doing that particular work that I've been reacting to. I see nothing ethically wrong with what they're doing because I just don't care. I don't care. The donors know who cares? I don't know the law. I'm not saying it is, but to me, it appears that it is potentially illegal. And if it is illegal and they knew that they were under investigation, okay, a way that Charlie would be able to get every other person in TPUSA off the hook is by ordering a Doge-style effort, knowing that he's going to be taken off the map as far as the official record of Earth is concerned very, very shortly. Because from the moment that he is dead till going forward, this is a clean slate for everyone else because all they have to do is blame it on Charlie. They get into the books, they're like, this is illegal. This is illegal. This is illegal. Like, hey, this is how Charlie set it up, man. This is how Charlie, I mean, I wish that you could talk to Charlie about it, but unfortunately he ordered this. And if you look at how we're doing it now, our books are clean, very clean. They're clean. We always pass our audits, but everything that you're looking at that maybe that was illegal, but we didn't make those decisions. Charlie did. Now Charlie's dead, unfortunately. So his sacrifice would serve another purpose, like a lot of reasons for him to do this, but most of all, for the people all around, it was to save the world from these demonic, satanic lunatics that are on the other side of this thing. So Candace, I would love to chat. Hit me up anytime. And again, for the 100th time, I apologize for hitting you up that one time with that idiotic video that clearly everyone had seen. I found out minutes after hitting you up. My buddy told me I was the only one that had it. Same dude told me that everyone in Utah thinks that Lance Twiggs is not real though. And he would know. Anyway, that's what I got. Look out for part 2. It's coming soon. And to be clear, we're not even halfway through, not by a long shot. There's so much more coming and I cannot wait to hear what you guys have to say about this. If you have clues that now connect for you, definitely email them to me. realjesseonfire@gmail.com.